On your mats, standing, toes pointing forwards, lift and separate your toes. Push down through your big toes, allow that arch to lift up. So we've talked about this a few times, haven't we? If you push down through your toes, your big toes, the arch should just be allowed to lift a little bit. Your feet should be hip width apart, your toes pointing forwards. You don't always know whether your toes are pointing forwards, so just always have a little check down. Good. Hands on your hips, soften your knees very slightly. Tuck your bottom under, just roll gently and drop the shoulders, tuck through the chin, lengthen up through the back of the neck, and then taking the weight from leg to leg, feeling one glute tighten and then the other one, making sure you're not going too far from foot to foot. It should be quite a subtle movement from side to side. And you should be able to let go of the other leg. So squeezing on one leg and just letting go through the other. It seems like such a trivial thing to think about, but actually it's quite a skill and very important to be able to let go of muscles as much as it is to squeeze them. Especially when we have this kind of using one leg and then the other leg kind of motion, which is what us humans are all about with walking. That kind of thing. Good. All right, taking the weight from forwards and backwards. The first few you'll find yourself really gripping with your toes, and then really try to make it a little bit more subtle when you go forwards and backwards, thinking a little bit more about what the rest of the body is doing. Good, keeping the chest open, keeping your chin tucked and neck lengthened up at the back. Good. Okay, settle halfway in between, arms down by your sides, and just sliding one arm down the side. Good. And it should be a nice free movement. And just feel this side opening up, and then feel the other side opening up. Good, sliding the arm down, drawing in your tummy, and making sure the hips aren't swaying. So a few of you will be pushing one hip to the side like that and then the other hip to the side. Think more about sliding down and bending over like that. You can even get a bit of a stretch through the arms. So if you pause on one side and just allow the fingertips to stretch down, you'll feel a bit of stretching through that arm as well. It's an interesting, simple little exercise that with a little bit of thought you can feel more going on. Brilliant. And then with the hands on the hips, we're going to circle around. Again, quite a simple exercise, but if we pause at every point, you'll feel the side of the hip there, you'll feel the lower back. Again, you'll feel the side of the hip, and then backwards you could even feel maybe down the backs of the legs a little bit. So just pausing at each quadrant, maybe we could call it. Good. Excellent. Okay, feet just a tiny bit further in and lift one heel. Feel the stretch of the foot, feel yourself grow tall, bottom tucked under, and swap, feeling the stretch of the foot, making sure you don't give in to the temptation to rock out to the side there. Feel the weight going forwards through your big toes. Good, dropping the shoulders. Nice relaxed breathing. Brilliant. Good work. Heels together now, toes pointing out. Bend your knees a little bit, tuck your bottom under, keeping your chest open. Point one toe out to the side. Lock that knee straight. Soften the other knee and make sure you don't roll in and collapse the arch on that side. Lift and down. Keep the knee locked. Lift and down. Keeping the hips level. Good. The temptation is to lift up that hip like that and rock your body from to the side. So squeeze your bum on this side. You'll be using the glute here and the glute here, and the thigh to keep the knee locked, and the foot to keep the toes pointed. Good. Lovely, just a couple more. Brilliant, come in, stay down, stretch the other leg out. Keep everything pointing forwards and the shoulders dropped. Lift and down. You'll always find one side easier than the other. Tucking your bottom under, locking that knee straight. Good. And try and soften the touch of your toes back down to the floor. They should touch the floor, and you should put the weight of the leg down through that, but most of the weight is down through this standing leg. Good. Well done. Coming in and upright, give those legs a little shake. Turn your toes out, both heels out, toes out again, and that brings you into that nice wide stance. Good. Hands stay on the hips, it's a good place for them. It helps you keep that chest open. And then squat and back up. Good. Tighten the thighs on the way back up. Squeeze your bottom under. Good. Think about going down between those two panes of glass. The upper body stays very upright on these squats, like that. And the knees try to point out as much as you can. We're not aiming for them to go directly outwards. That's virtually impossible unless you're a ballerina or a gymnast. But what I want your knees to do is follow the line of your toes. So if you're struggling to follow the line of your toes, bring your toes to point a little bit further forwards. Good. Great. And then we'll stay at the bottom, lifting both heels at the same time. The first few are always a little bit awkward, and then you get into the rhythm of it. And try and control them back down again as well. So lifting the heels and control them back down. For those of you that worry about dropped arches in the feet, this is quite a nice one to lift up through those arches. You don't feel a lot going on around your feet, but I give this exercise out for people who have injured their tibialis posterior, which is the muscle that runs up through here and keeps your arch up. Good. We're going to stay up on the toes and do a few bounces there, keeping the bottom tucked under. Little friend, come to say hello. Great. Oh, and stop there if you lose your balance. Come back up again. Turn the toes in, toes in again. Right. Toes are pointing forwards. We're continuing with this theme of kind of foot and ankle exercises. Come up onto your toes. Bend your knees, heels down, back up. Now this is always an awkward one, hence I don't use it that much. Onto the toes, bend your knees, heels down, back up. Now you've got to control around the feet and ankles. Toes, knees, heels, back up. Keep it nice and subtle. I'm not raising up onto those toes as much as I can, which is all the way up there because I'll lose my balance. So do it as much as you can before you lose your balance. Knees, heels, toes. Good. Upright, drop the shoulders, tummy in. Good. And just a couple more. Might get more confident as you go along. There. Brilliant. And sticking with this theme, if your calves aren't hurting too much, if you've got a little surface next to you like I do here, then go for it. I want you to pull up onto your toes and back down again. Pull up all the way. We'll do 10 of these. 3, squeezing the calves. 4, squeezing in through your tummy. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lovely. Step one leg forwards and the other one back. Good. Everything pointing forwards, dropping the heel. Feel that stretch up through the back of the leg. Come up and then a squat. Okay. Heel down, up, knee down, up. Okay, keep going. 3, 4. Don't bring that knee all the way to the floor if you're not confident enough to, or if your knee hurts. Good. 2 more. Down, up, squat. Brilliant. Oh, we're turning around to the other side, so it's hardly one leg and the other leg, is it? It's both legs working at the same time. Pull up through your toes on that back leg, everything pointing forwards, bottom tucked under, down, up, and then your little squat. 2, 3, 4. Well done. Drop the shoulders. 6, 7. Good. 8. 2 more. 10. Lovely. Good. So coming facing forwards, and quick whiz through some arm exercises in standing, and then we'll come down to the mat. Palms facing forwards, drop the shoulders, knees a little bit bent, bottom tucked under, stretch forwards and in. As you pull those elbows back, imagine your fingertips attached to some elastic and you're pulling and drawing back against that elastic. Harder than the exercise actually is. Good. Tucking the chin, pulling the shoulder blades back as you pull the elbows back. Good. Keep the arms forwards. We're going out and together. Out and together. If you keep your palms pointing upwards and you're anything like me, you might feel all sorts of funny feelings around the fingertips and the lower arms. If you're prone to a bit of tightness there, then you'll feel the stretching. For some reason I feel it stretching to my index finger on the right today. I don't know what I've been doing yesterday. Good. Stay at the side, hands pointing forwards, and then draw that sort of rainbow shape from out to the side up to the top. Good. So you're working around your upper shoulders there. You're stretching through your arms as well, and you're working on your posture, so quite a lot coming from this exercise, which is nice. Good. Just a couple more. Lovely. All right, so standing on the end of your mat, hands on the front of your thighs, and as always, take a nice deep breath in, breathe out, tuck your chin and curl all the way down. Good. Once you're there, bend and straighten alternate knees, allowing yourself just to sink that little bit further down. Make sure your head goes heavy and your arms go heavy. Everything nice and relaxed. Brilliant. Squeeze in through that lower tummy. Even hook your hands together like that and push down a little bit. Good work. Okay, coming down onto your hands and knees. Brilliant. And I'd like you to lift and drop, just feeling that stretch through the back. As you push up and arch your back, push away through your hands. That gives you a little bit more of a stretch. And also, remember to follow the movement with your head. Tuck your chin and then lifting up. Good. We get both the planes and the trains here in Chiswick, so you'll hear them sometimes doubling up, like then the plane's going over and a train going past. Sit back onto the heels and then push forwards and arch the back and drop the hips down. Good. Sit back and forwards. Good. So nice loosening movements around the lower back there. Great. Maybe one more of these. And let's stay in this position here. Good. So feeling that arch of the back. Feel your abs switched on just a little bit. Draw the ribs down slightly in the front. Pull the shoulder blades together and straighten through the elbows. So it's just a pose to try and stay in. Very briefly, some of you will find this very difficult and you might want to come down onto the elbows there. I do understand that was me a couple of years ago, but I worked on this a little bit so the hands and the arms can be straight. So it's worth working on there, and it does make your back feel a little bit better if you do have any back problems there. Lovely. Just a few stretches through those wrists to keep up what we started with the wrist stretches, rocking forwards and backwards, trying to push and stretch through the wrists. Great. Stretch up with the right arm, rotate around and push through and rotate through as far as you can. And I want you to stay there. So a bit more of a static stretch in this position. So rest your head on the floor. Keep trying to edge your fingertips away and stretch through that little bit more. Breathe in and out. Good. Bring your hand down. Other arm. Stretch up. Back of the hand through. Keep pushing and stretching through as far as you can. Head rested on the floor. Breathe in and out. Great. And come back up. Good work. So, right leg back, stretch up, try and correct your hips and draw in your tummy, and let's draw circles outwards with that right leg. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 circles inwards. 2. So you'll feel this through the hamstring. Keep working through your glutes and try and push away with your hands. Good. Come down. Stretch the other leg out. Lift. Draw in your tummy. Circle out. Whatever out is. Don't worry about out and in. You'll just circle one way and then circle the other way. Good. And circle the other way. Keep strong through those arms. Lovely. Come down. Brilliant. So we're going to turn over and sit. Cool. Sitting upright, arms out in front, draw in your tummy, scoop in and pull up tall. Good. Oh, sun's come out for me. Good. Scooping in the tummy, drawing back and pull up tall. Drop the shoulders, elbows straight. Good. Make sure you're really activating through your abs to pull back, but also try not to collapse through the shoulders as you come back. Keep the chest nice and open. So you're trying to do two separate things with the body, which is one thing that Pilates works on. Keeping the chest open, but closing in and the lower half. Good. Brilliant. Elbows nice and straight, fingertips stretching forwards. Brilliant. Just a couple more. Lovely. Legs out straight and come forwards. Breathe in and out as you sink down forwards there. And let your head hang. Feel the difference if you have your head up like that compared with tucking the chin. That tightens through the sciatic nerves down the backs of the legs if you tuck the chin. I want you to keep your chin tucked and point and flex alternate feet like that. And that will stretch through each of those sciatic nerves and the one that comes around the front and the top of the foot there. Good. Try not to give yourself blisters at the backs of the heels though. Good. So coming up tall again. Good. Come back, open out one way with both arms. Come back in again and open out. You're staying back, you're staying with that tummy working. Open and together. Open and together. Good. Keep scooping in the tummy. It's quite easy to sort of forget about that, and all you end up doing is hanging on the hip flexors. So keep telling yourself to keep working your abs. Brilliant. One more each side. Cool. And come forwards and get hold of the feet if you can. If you can't, please don't worry about it. Great. So coming down onto your backs. Good. Tucking through the chin. Broaden and open out through the chest. Breathe in, breathe out and sink your ribs down. Feet hip width apart. Draw in through the pelvic floor and then lift and lower each leg one at a time. Tucking the chin, open the chest, scoop in through that lower tummy. Brilliant. Putting one foot down and push down through it gently to pick up the other one. Make sure you've got that pelvic floor tight, the ribs down. Chest nice and open. Backs of the shoulders should feel like they're almost on the floor if they're not on the floor already. Work out what your weakness is as well, whether your ribs are down, whether your chest is open, whether you've got that little arch in the lower back. So work out the one that you find most difficult and then focus in on that and see if you can change that bit of the movement. Okay, now draw the ribs down a little bit stronger so you feel like you're coming into like a crunch, and then pick up the right foot, left, right down, and continue. Right up, right down, left down. Breathe nice and relaxed. Good, keeping your chin tucked, your chest open. Arms down by your sides if you want, across your chest if you want. That makes it a little bit more difficult. So you're not stabilising with your arms on the floor. It may not feel like much, but it does make a little bit of a difference. Now swap legs, other leg first, up, up, down, down. Lovely. Now, both legs up, so no break in between. Hopefully we're building a bit of endurance here. Tapping and lifting, tap and lift. Keep drawing in through your tummy. Keep breathing. And scoop in. It's all about endurance. If you're finding this difficult, tap a little bit closer to your body. If you're finding it easy, tap a little bit further away. Try not to go too far with it, otherwise it changes the exercise. Good, let's go faster for 20. Try not to rock the hips. And then crunch, hold on behind one leg and straighten both legs out and then back in again. Good. Straighten and push away with that leg along the end of the mat. If you struggle with these, rest it down to the floor maybe. But push and straighten away. Great, lovely series there, but now we can come back down onto the floor. Readjust everything and start on the next one. Tuck the chin, open the chest, nice deep breath in, sink the ribs, little arch in the back, feet firmly placed, and then lowering one knee sideways and back up, and then the other knee out sideways. Make sure you're using your glutes a little bit to take the leg out to the side. Good. Try not to make it jerky. I've just noticed mine are a little bit jerky, those last few. Having the hands on the fingertips lightly on the front of the hips there can really help to see if you're rocking the hips, because that's what this one's all about, keeping the hips pointing straight forwards, or up, I should say. Good. Knees and toes together. Take them over to the side and come back up. Again, to make this a little bit more difficult, you can bring your hands across the front of your chest there, crossed across the front of your chest. And that means you've really got to stabilise. With your hands on the ribs, it holds them down, so you can kind of swing from side to side. With the hands across the chest, you really have to focus to keep the ribs down as the legs go over to the side. So that gives you a little extra challenge for today. Always nice to find new ways to challenge yourself. Great. Just one more each side. Lovely. Hold your hands there if you want. If you find it's making you close your shoulders in, then maybe don't. Actually, you can use your hands on each shoulder to push out a little bit there. Legs up to tabletop. Draw in through the tummy. Knees and toes start together, and then one leg out and back in. Other leg out and back in. Draw in through your tummy. And try and hold everything as still as you can as you're doing it. Think about hollowing through the tummy, drawing your belly button back. Think pelvic floor as well. If you found that closed your chest down, then broaden and open out again. Lovely. Pause with your knees and your feet hip width apart, and then roll over to the side and come back in, picking up the hip, rolling over, and then pull back to the centre. Other side. Good. Hands on the ribs is quite good, so hold them there. I haven't tried this with my hands across the shoulders. You certainly can't go as far, and you really have to stabilise to come back again. So you can always give that a try. Arms up and out in front might be another way of doing it. Good. So lovely for those of you who want a little extra challenge today. Trying not to bring the arms from side to side like that, not waving them from side to side. Good. And keep going with that if you want to, otherwise bring your knees together. Take the legs over to the right. So follow me on this one. Listen carefully for the instructions. Your knees are to the right. Your right arm is going straight up. Your left hand behind your head. And we're going to crunch and pull that arm over. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tapping the outside of that left leg. 5, 6, 7, 10. See, bring your knees in. I was going to make you go straight over to the other side, but I'll get you to bring your knees in first. Breathe. Legs back out. Take the legs over to the left. Left arm stretches straight up, right behind your head. And crunch there, drawing in your tummy. 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lovely. They're quite intense, those ones. So just stretching with your knees in. Waggle your feet a little bit. Good. And then place your feet back down on the floor. Reassume that Pilates positioning. Tuck your chin, broaden out through your chest, sink your ribs down, and then we're sliding one leg out, pulling the toes up, get that nice stretch at the end of the range, and then pull back in. Stretch the other leg out, pull your toes up, lengthen out through that leg, and come back in. Good. Good. Couple more. Difficult sliding along the floor, these ones, so I don't do them very often. And then the next one is tabletop. Stretch out, back in and down. Make sure you hit those positions. Tabletop, shin level, stretch out, thighs level. Back in and down. Out, in. You can crunch at the same time, especially if you want to keep a check of what your legs are doing there, like I've just mentioned. Great, just make sure your elbows are nice and wide and the back of your head is supported. Great. Go on then, Lily. Oh, one more each side. Great, head and shoulders down, legs up, scoop in the tummy, stretch and back in, stretch and back in. Good. Tighten through the thigh. If you struggle with these, point the legs straight up, a little bit further up. That needs good hamstrings though. Make sure you maintain the arch in the back, lower tummy scooped in, ribs down, chest open, chin tucked. Good, and then straight into the next exercise. So left leg out, right leg with those arms, one across, other one stretching down. Off we go. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, another 10. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lovely. Bring your knees in. Roll from side to side, because that just massages through the lower back just a little bit. Great. Okay, on to your side for some glutes. How are we doing? 11 o'clock. Great. Up onto the elbow. If you want, you don't have to. Some people have some shoulder problems here that will stop them. You can be down here with your head in the hand, but up on the elbow is a nice change. Tuck the bottom hip back, feet in line with your bottom, bottom tucked under, so make sure you get that pelvic tilt and that tuck under, which activates everything around here, and make sure you're not slumped down into there. Good. Pushing up and away. Good. Lifting your top knee. Good. Working those glutes. Very easy in this position to rock that top hip back, so make sure that bottom hip is tucked backwards and you're lifting. Don't get too worried about how high that knee lifts. It shouldn't lift too high. In fact, it probably shouldn't lift much higher than the hip. There. Good. Pushing up and away. You will forget and sink down a little bit here, so pushing up out of it. Good work. Feet up to hip height. Draw in the tummy and lifting again. 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice me shuffle around a little bit. If it's feeling awkward, then move yourself around. See if you can find a good spot. Bottom leg down, top leg forwards and backwards. Just nice small movements there, trying to control around your middle as much as you can. Good. Breathing. Stretch that leg out, pull the toes up, pulsing up and down. Turn the toes down and pulse up and down. See what that one feels like. Turn the toes up and pulse up and down. That makes you really squeeze through your bum that little bit more. toes forwards and backwards. 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Both legs down. Lift and down with the hips. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All I could think about there was my elbow on the floor rather than the glutes working. So let's turn around to the other side. Good. Up on the elbow, tuck the bottom hip back, shuffle things around, get yourself in line where you need to be. Draw in through your tummy and lift that top knee. Good. Take a nice breath in. Try not to grip through the rest of the leg. Try and use that glute. I can't find myself in a good position with this one today for some reason on this side. So do feel free to shuffle around. Even someone like me that does this all the time needs to keep shuffling and adjusting. Feet up. I had a big long drive yesterday, so my body's probably feeling all a little bit tight in different places, and sometimes that can be why you can't get yourself into the right position. Good. Keep pushing up and away through this arm. Good. Bottom leg down, and then those small ones forwards and backwards, controlling through your middle. And then stretch out and pulse up and down. Nice deep breaths. Especially when it starts to get hard. Kind of visualise you bringing some oxygen to those muscles to help them work better. Turn the toes down doesn't work exactly that way, but still, that's why we breathe, right? Toes pointing up. Good, and then bringing both legs in, and we have to do these ones, we did them on the other side, lifting the hip up and down. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lovely. And like I say, all that seemed to do was push into the elbow. So crossing the legs, stretching out those glutes that we've just been working, coming from side to side. Great, and it'll stretch the glute and it'll stretch up the side of the body, everything that you've just worked on those ones that we've just done. Bring the soles of the feet together and drop your knees down, and that should stretch the inner thigh. You can lean forwards into it a little bit. It's very slightly different stretch to the one with the legs out straight, which we'll do next. Short adductors and long adductors. So this is a little bit more for the short adductors, the inner thigh, and this is a little bit more for the long ones. And you'll feel that it's very much in the front of the hip, and then it comes out to the length of the upper thigh there. You could even sometimes feel it coming into the knee. So any of you with knee problems might find that stretching the adductors makes a bit of a difference. Coming from side to side there. Try and come up with your hands behind you and roll the feet in and out. I keep looking at the time, but I keep forgetting what time it is. Fine. Good. I keep focusing on an Ocado shop that I've got coming from 4 till 5, and I don't think I adjusted it day before yesterday, so I might have all sorts of abstract things coming, which is very exciting, of course. Coming to a mermaid position here. Up nice and tall, broaden out through the chest, coming up onto the knees and stretching over. Hold that stretch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and come back down again. We'll do that again, pushing up and away. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more time, pushing up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. And let's swap sides. Up nice and tall, drop the shoulders, pushing up onto the knees, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And coming back down again. And go again. Up and over. One, good, and down. One more. Up and over. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. From here, we're going to come down onto our side, back into that clam-like position. Arms in front of you, head rested down, or one arm propping up the head like that, so it's up to you. Breathing in, breathing out, and rotating around. If you're like me, a little bit stuck for room, then the elbow goes straight down to the floor. If you've got a lot more room, then you can come out straight there. Good, to the front. And again, breathing in, breathing out, rotating over. And again, breathe in, breathe out. Might get a few nice clicks from the back if you're lucky there. Coming over to the other side. Both arms out in front, or one hooked round to make a pillow, whichever one you prefer. Breathing in, breathing out, rotating. 1, 2. And again, breathe in, breathe out, and rotate. Brilliant. So, up onto your hands and knees again. Good. And then we're going to step both legs out. One foot on the outside of that right foot. Right hand on the outside of the right foot. Stretch up and down with the elbow. 1, 2, hopefully these are getting a little bit easier. 3, 4, back knee can be down if you want, just to remind you. And then swap sides. Other arm, stretch up and down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Yes, honey. Turn your toes under and sink your shoulders down towards your feet. Good. Bend and straighten each knee, pushing one heel down at a time. Lovely. With your right leg, lift up and down. We're going to do 5 of these straight leg lifts. 2, 3, 4, 5. You thought the hard work was done, didn't you? Other leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lovely. Walk your hands towards your feet. Hang and stretch there again. Breathe in and out a couple of times. Let your head go heavy, your arms go heavy. Bend and straighten each knee. Get some nice deep breaths in. Brilliant. Curling back up. Roll your shoulders a couple of times, and carrying on with that nice breathing, I want you to come up onto your toes, breathing in, arms all the way up. Come down onto the heels, sink your hands behind your head, drop your shoulders, breathe out. Breathe in and lift. Breathe out and down. Breathe in, stretch up on the toes as well. Down and round. Don't worry if you're wobbling a little bit there. Let's do one more. Breathing in, stretching up. Breathe out, down with the hands behind your head. Drop the shoulders. Breathe in and lift. Out and down. In and stretch up. Out and round and down. Lovely. Well done. Okay, so thanks for joining again. We'll see you again next week, no doubt.